YouTube fans, Admiral Preparedness here, once again in our series of What Does It Taste Like Now? Today we're going to taste test a can of Campbell's tomato soup that has a best by date of March 27, 2014. This can also has the clip and earn 1 point for your school. Labels for education. Pardon my bad reading here. Labelsforeducation.com. Since this is so old, I haven't even bothered to even look up that website, but it is made in the USA, of course. And of course, it has all of the ingredient listings here. We're not going to go into those. If you want to, you can go on their website and get all that you need. I will say it has no MSG, no added colors or artificial flavors, no saturated fat, no cholesterol, and the sodium content is 480 milligrams, which is 20% of your adult daily intake. Potassium is 690 milligrams, 20%. Total carbohydrates, 20 grams, 7%. Fiber is 1 gram, 4% of your daily. Sugar is 12%. Protein is 2 grams. Total fat is 0. Saturated fat, 0. Trans fat, 0. Polyunsaturated fats are 0. Monosaturated fats, 0. Cholesterol, 0. Vitamin A is 8%. Vitamin C is 10%. There is no calcium, and iron is 4%. It is a recyclable can. You could do that in an SHTF event. I don't know where you're going to put them, but these are not like the Coke cans where you could turn them upside down and step on them to crush them. So what I would probably do with these guys is BB gun targets. I wouldn't recommend any other thing. I was corrected the other day about using bows and arrows, and I was corrected by that. I appreciate that input because I didn't think about, bows and arrows. You would definitely, dull the tips, and so that was stupid a comment of me, and I appreciate the gentleman that corrected me on that. There was also a fellow out there who wanted to know about acidic, foods going into these cans. Now, over the last 50 years, the technology has definitely changed from, we know that lead caused lead poisoning in people. If you remember back for your history of canned goods, lead was prevalently used to seal these buggers, and that's no longer the case. Today they use high pressure presses that will take a sheet of metal and form the can from that one sheet of metal in this high pounds per square inch process, and then the lid is manufactured such where it is also made of the same material, and then there's a rolling process that seals the two together. Of course, the product is inside the can prior to the lid going on and being sealed. If you, I'm an avid watcher of how is it made, and now that's on the internet where you could on demand pretty much the entire series to watch these cans being manufactured and filled and sealed and pasteurized, labelized, and palletized and distributed around the world so we can enjoy the goodness that's included inside the can. The interior of the can is also sprayed with a material that prevents the food from coming in contact with the can. Now, that's the recent upgrade and improvement that the manufacturers have done with the approval of the FDA. And of course, if the can is dented, this is where I always question the fact that, well, why do you not want to buy a dented can? And I'm still to this day unable to tell you exactly why. I'm not really sure in the past why. So if you know, leave a comment, because that was one of the things that used to bug me to death as a child growing up, because I would be in the cart. I was small, and I got to ride around in the cart and to keep my mother from having to chase me around the store. And when she would be perusing the canned goods, the first thing she would do is rotate that can to ensure that there was no dents. I mean, uh, so I mean, I vaguely remember the reasoning, but I think it was because back then that protective material used to come off if the can was ever dented. If you ever see cans of the past, they used to be corrugated for strength. And sometimes during people would throw them off, they would get knocked off shelves, and the dented cans would go on sale. I've to this day I don't buy dented cans. I remember opening up a case of some canned goods, and there were several of those cans dented, and I called the company. That company will remain unknown. And I really didn't get any salute. I didn't get any answer. The lady was telling me that was a product in a can. I said, well, yes, it is. And she goes, was the can in any way compromised? I said, well, there's a big giant dent in the side of it. And I'm kind of questioning how three of these cans had gotten into this case from the manufacturing process unnoticed. And she said, well, it's automated. And I went, well, I kind of figured that, but the weight was the same. I had no recourse but to just say, okay. Uh, they didn't ask for the cans back. I wasn't going to give it to them unless they paid for postage. So we went nowhere with that. But if you have, I'll probably end up having to look it up once I'm done here to answer my own question as to why you don't want to purchase dented cans, or why do you don't want a long-term store dented cans. But we're going to take this to the kitchen and get it all ready. We don't, again, we're going to use a microwave. Of course, if you are an SHTF event and you find yourself without electricity, you find yourself without the ability to produce electricity, and you find yourself only with your fingers to open the can, don't bother even heating it. This can be consumed directly from the can. They recommend you heat it only because it tastes better heated, or it allows the material, if this was not just tomato soup but others, to give it a different flavor and texture once it's heated. You can add other ingredients to this. I've seen a cornucopia of different ingredients that people add to their tomato soup. I usually just either drink or eat it or drink it plain in a coffee cup or in a mug or in a soup bowl, and traditionally consume it that way. But today I found in the cupboard some saltine crackers, which brought back some memories of when I was a little kid. I spent more time crushing the saltines up and getting them to dissolve or turn really mushy in my soup during lunchtime as a young child. I don't really consume tomato ketchup or tomato soup this in my lifetime right now, but I do know that it doesn't have many calories. This one here has 90 calories for a half a cup per serving. Now, half a cup wouldn't feed a fish, in my opinion. So I think they need to go back and change their serving size, because I could kill this whole can in about 6 minutes watching TV or reading my favorite book or magazine, or just relaxing outside watching life go by. So a half a cup, that's to me is malarkey or bahooey or nonsense or whatever you want to call it. Uh, they could probably justify saying it's a half a cup for whatever reason they want, but this would fill me and give me the rest, give me pretty much a meal for the whole day. The old soup and sandwich days have come and gone for me because now, as I age, I find myself eating less and less, but I need more and more nutrition to keep this, you know, human being's body able to walk about and do my daily activities. So in saying that, I'll take a break right now, and we'll come back and check back with you with the meal heated up and ready to consume. And as a follow-up to that last statement about the dented cans, I totally forgot about botulism. In the past, if a can became dented, it may allow what's called a pinhole to occur in the can. A pinhole allows air into the can and possible growth of botulism. So my formal apologies there for brain fart. I knew that information, I just could not remember it. That's what happens when you get old, folks. So at least we now have an avenue where we can go back and question ourselves and get the answer that we need. So again, the possibility of botulism being introduced to the can if it is dented. So other safety food notice is if there's any bulging of a can, do not open it. That means that botulism has occurred or is occurring in that can, and pressure is building up in that can. I didn't discuss that here. I didn't really think I needed to, but a safety note is I will say this again: don't eat from a dented can. One, because there could be a possibility that a pinhole could occur and botulism could get in there, let air allowed to get in there, and all the little biologics start to grow. Other information is also if you're storing food and you do notice that your cans are beginning to bulge, that's a bad sign. Promptly dispose of those cans into the bin. Don't open them, just leave them in their condition that you found them in and just put them in the trash. Let nature take its course. When they go into the trash, the machine will pick it up, compress it, and it'll let that dirtiness occur there. Uh, that's why I would never want to work at a dump, any place where they recycle material, because you know they wear environmental protection suits just for that fact. Uh, if you do find a can bulged, specifically like they say, the high acidic level products, tomato, any item that has high acid levels, then that tells you that you may not want to be purchasing those products ever again and thinking you can keep them for a long term. Uh, so that's that note that gentleman wanted me to cover. I can go into more detail later about high acidic content food sources, but tomatoes seem to be the highest level that I've found. Um, if you store these products improperly, or you've gone away and the temperature has dramatically gone up, and you notice that your cans are beginning to bulge, that tells you that it's safe to throw those things out. And now we'll pause once again to get this out into the kitchen so we can start preparing it for consumption and review. Yeah. Let's take this guy to the kitchen and get it all ready for heating process and consumption. Tomato can. Remember, the expiration, the best buy of March 27, 2014. And here we are, folks, once again. Admiral Preparedness here with our afternoon delight. This is Campbell's tomato soup, condensed. Best Buy of March 27th, 2014. Nice and hot from the microwave. It has all the smells of a quality tomato soup. Very flavorful. Being condensed, it comes in a gelatin style, so you have to add your water, then stir your soup. Very flavorful. Now, we do have saltines to add to it. That's a family tradition. We're not going to break ranks and not have saltines in it as a childhood memory. They give the soup just a tad bit of crunchiness that you enjoy so much as a child growing up. Very flavorful. Tastes just like the day it was put in the can. You can add all your different wonderfulness to it. Some people add cheddar cheese. Some people add cheddar cheese spread. I've heard all kinds of things being added to tomato soup. I prefer it just like this. I'll be back. You know, folks, that brought back some old memories. It's been a while since I've had a can of tomato soup, and that was very, very enjoyable, very tasty. Brought back some real old memories from when I was a youngster. We were very glad we have several cases of tomato soup in our Shtf long-term storage food pantry. Just remember to store them at a good a low temperature, and try not to move them around. Try not to dent them. If you have gone on the internet, looked up SHTF food pantries, you'll see that a lot of people out there now are building what's called a first in, last out, or last in, first out rolling canned good pantry. They're not very expensive to build if you know how to do it. But I'll just say this today: please go out there and purchase your products, knowing that you need to store them at a constant temperature. Don't allow them to fluctuate. Again, food safety is important. Do your homework, and the clamp crew has arrived. So there we go. One down. All right, we'll see you again with continuing our series of what does it taste like now. Tomorrow it's vegetable soup.